Have you noticed that? You were a little bit more irritable than usual. People around you, they had a little bit of a shorter fuse than usual. Now you know why. This year, you've heard about inflation and economy and the immigration. So everything here, the financial system, the political system, all the systems are reaching their absolute limits. So these guys go into Pisces. It means that your emotions are going to be tested on a daily basis by everyone, by all situations. You're going to be squeezed emotionally here. Saturn, we call him Nahsul Akbar, which means the great malefic, but his nickname is the killer. Okay, he will really test you. People were being told to learn how to code and that they'll be safe and they'll make 6 figures a year and they'll have a career. And look at what happened now with AI. People are not coding anymore, they're vibe coding. This guy right here, the sun went haywire this year. It was the peak of its cycle, peak solar activity. So that's why the exhaustion, that's why you were tired. The sun wasn't acting its usual self, okay? It was going bananas. All right, guys, so welcome to another live. I wanted to do this for quite some time, as I told you last time that I would be working to make another live for you. This live, the idea came about a month ago when I was having a discussion with a loved one, and we discussed how this year has just been very challenging, very tough for everyone. So me as a professional, but also as a person in everyday life, I want to ask you, did you have any issues in your career? Did something collapse? Did you lose your job? Did you have to reinvent yourself? Or things just stopped making sense in your industry in 2025? Did relationships end quietly or badly, peacefully, or maybe there was an abruption and things just fell apart all of a sudden, again, in this great year of 2025? Did maybe a friendship or friendships fade instead of exploding, basically just fizzling away as if nothing happened, or someone that was close to you, you're not even friends anymore? Did you feel emotionally exhausted? Not just emotionally, but also mentally, physically, in a way that rest didn't fix. It was like that standard 8 hours, quote unquote, was not enough. Even more was not enough. It's like you were carrying the sleep debt for no reason whatsoever throughout this year. Imagine that all of these questions are valid, but also that they have explanations for everything that happened during this year. If any of that resonates with you, you're not alone. Okay, I can tell you right now, you're not alone. I deal with different people from all across the world. That's a blessing in many ways, and all walks of life. And I see people struggling the same way in different situations. Today, on December 25th, Christmas Day, I'm coming to you with a gift. And that gift is the gift of clarity. Now, this is not some motivation, okay? It's not some pop astrology live here. I'm not into that stuff. It's also not predictions, okay? It's also not fear. Oh my God, what is this guy gonna talk to us about? It's clarity, as I said before. Now, before I start, something is important here. As I said before, it's not about Christmas, okay? It's not about Christmas, about Christianity or anything in regards to religion. As you guys know, I'm a Muslim, so that's not what this is about. That's about timing. You know that December 25th has to do with the summer solstice, and that's when the days start to get longer again. And it's usually a moment of reflection, right? It's the end of the year before the official end of the year. It is really a chapter, and we go from to the next year. 2025 is a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, right? So it goes hand in hand. Now, first of all, we need to set the frame here. As you see here, I told you that 2025 is a year of 9, Khatam, okay? So 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 5 equal 9. 9 is Khatam. What is Khatam? Khatam is the, okay? I don't want to say it. It sounds worse than it is, but it is a ceiling. It is the completion, the exhaustion of a cycle, all right? So 9, last digit, there's no more. After that, we move into double digits, 10s, 11s, so on and so forth. So it is the ultimate level, okay? In all years, and we can reduce them to 1 digit. This is as something that was attributed to Pythagoras, but the Arabs are really big into that stuff as well. So 2025 is a 9-year. Okay, the ceiling is a completion. It's exhaustion of the cycle, as I mentioned before. The end of a text is al-khatima, which means it concludes. That's it. There's no more writing. There's no more text. After that, you turn a page or start a new chapter or even a new book. Okay, so this year is not about growth. It's not about pushing through. It's not about going into higher levels. It's not about expansion. And it's not about addition or accumulation. It's about closure. Now, all the things that went sideways for you this year, I can tell you right now that it was leading up to it. It didn't happen overnight. Because before a 9-year, we had an 8 and a 7 and 6, and so on and so forth. Okay? Now, when a cycle reaches al-khat, which means its conclusion, it has used up all the energy it had. Okay, that's it. Imagine again the example of the numbers. You're leading up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 9, and that's it. We're done here. Okay, we start over at 9 again because 1 plus 0 is 1, and then 11 is 2, and so on and so forth. Okay, so that's why this year felt final. The things that ended, they ended for good. Okay, and effort didn't produce the same results. So if you know what works in your work, in your career, in your business, whatever the case may be, and you're doing the same things, and for some reason, it's not working. All right? So that might be the reason why. That's why things didn't respond the way it used to. Okay? So you're nice to someone, usually they're going to be nice back. No, not at all. This relationship needs to end. You can do this, you can extrapolate this in any facet of your life. So it's not about pessimism, it's about diagnosis. As I said before, it's about clarity. Now, we can look at astrology here, okay? And before I explain how this khatam showed up emotionally, socially, I need to be clear about something. Okay, this is something I've repeated before. If you guys have been following me for a while, astrology is not the cause. Okay, as we say in Arabic, al-kawakib tukhbar wa la tujbar, means it tells and it doesn't compel. Okay, the planets tell but don't compel. It's also a saying that was taken over and transmitted to the Western astrologers. I see it used a few times. Astrology is a descriptive language. The stars are talking to us. They have a message for us. They help us make a sense of reality. As we know, as above, so below. So nothing new under the sun there. Now the year sealed first. The planets describe how that sealing unfolded. Right? So it's these things that are talking to each other, right? It's the universal matrix. Now, the Jafr gives us the why, the numbers. As when he tells us in Shams Matter, for example, that the numbers are connected to celestial realities, to the higher truths of the world. Okay? So with numbers, we can make sense of it. Astrology helps us understand the form, what is going to be affected, why, and how. Now, that hierarchy matters, and that interconnection also needs to be highlighted. Now, before I go further, I want to address something directly here, because you see here, I'm talking about Saturn and Neptune and Pluto, okay? So Neptune and Pluto and Uranus, these are not part of traditional Arabic astrology, and I am fully aware of that, okay? Classical system, whether you're a Solomonic practitioner or whatever, Arabic practitioner as well, it uses 7 classical planets. That's historically correct. Now, classical astrology, whether it be Hellenistic, whether it be Arabic, worked with 7 visible planets because that's what they could see. Okay, those were the ones that they could see. Those were the ones that they could see with the tools they had at the time. But they never assumed that those are the only ones that existed. All right? Now, the scholars never said these are the only ones that exist and there are only 7 and that's it. This is what instead they said this is what we can measure, this is what we can see. So I don't want you people to come to me, no, this is not classical astrology, this is that. Okay, so that's that out of the way. In the Quran, in chapter of Yusuf, my favorite chapter, by the way, I highly recommend reading it if you're into that sort of thing. Prophet Joseph says to his father, I saw 11 planets and the sun and the moon bowing to me. So Allah talks about this in the Quran, in the desert, in 400 something. But this is a recension. This is an account of an exchange that went between Joseph and his father, which is even older than that. That's ancient Egypt, Torah times. That's ancient Testament times. Okay, so we know that these planets existed. It's just that people during the classical era didn't have the tools necessary to observe them. Okay, now this is something that I wanted to get out of the way, because I could already hear and see the people coming to me saying, no, this is not part of classical astrology, this and that. I wanted to get that out of the way, and we're here for clarity. We're not here to put, I would say, visors on us and just look at those 7 planets, okay? Because they don't tell half the story here. Now, Saturn, this guy, he represents limits, pressure, contraction, responsibility, reality, discipline. Saturn, we call him Nasr Akbar, which means the great malefic, but his nickname is the killer. Okay, he will really test you. He is the willpower killer. Okay, so when Saturn does something, but on the back of it, there's some good sides to Saturn. I don't believe that they're inherently good or bad. Yes, everyone serves a purpose in the creation of God, but Saturn has that reputation. Okay, now Neptune here, he has been said to represent meaning, ideals, emotions, and dreams. And when they go into Pisces, Pisces is faith, surrender, emotion, spirituality, hope, but mostly emotion. Pisces is the emotional sign. So these guys go into Pisces, it means that your emotions are going to be tested on a daily basis by everyone, by all situations, in all aspects of your life. Okay, so that's what I'm saying here. It's going to be tested. You're going to be squeezed emotionally here. Okay? Not through constant drama here. Okay? Is the exhaustion, is the amount of things that are being thrown at you. Okay? People left relationships. A lot of people felt emotionally drained. Okay, me and my clients were talking about like how they feel down emotionally, how they just feel numb, they're not able to continue anymore or keep going. So those are things to take into account. Okay, so these things together, things falling apart, and friendships and relationships, hope started to erode to eventually run out. People are losing hope in life. Okay, when you have your career, when you have your personal life, when you have your spiritual life, everything doesn't make sense. You're trying your best, it's not working. You have issues being thrown at you left and right. At some point, you're not a machine, you're not a robot. Okay, if you feel just giving up, like numb or tired instead of motivated, now it's not that you were weak, really that you were saturated here. Okay, saturated. That should be his nickname here, saturated. People also, when I was talking to them, I could see in their speech patterns, the way they were writing or talking to me, they couldn't really think clearly. They had trouble planning ahead. Many people say, I don't know what I'm going to do anymore. I don't know what I want anymore. Okay? So it's not because they're lazy or they don't want to get off their butt. Basically what's happening is that overload, that mental fog, that constant noise from everything that's happening outside, but also everything that is happening in your life. Now, Neptune will dissolve meaning, okay, as I mentioned before, and that's why people have lost their why. A lot of people have lost their identity, okay, and this is very important. I'm not just throwing out words at you here. I had people who had to move countries. I've never done so many country move work in this year. I had people who lost not only their jobs, but their career, their identity, the things that they were working towards or in for years on end. Okay, so that's why people are like, well, who am I? When people meet you, they say, what do you do for a living? This means, who are you? Your job, your career is also part of your identity. It is a big chunk, in fact. You see, so when these things start to go bad, right now with AI and everything, but I'll get into that later on. When we get to Pluto, he is not the one who is micromanaging. He is influencing your life at a larger scale. Okay, so Pluto represents power shifts, collapse. We know who went into power this past year. Okay, a lot of political parties are taking power. Power is changing hands. A lot of prime ministers, presidents are being changed. So it's not like the same party as before. In different countries around the world, there is the rise of the far right and the right in many countries around the world. So there is a shift, okay? There is a shift of power from the left to the right, slowly but surely, but it is happening. And there is also an element of transformation. In Aquarius, it's systems, institutions, technology, the collective. So where are the changes happening? Just as I said before, the examples I've given you. Now, this here says that the systems are reaching their limits. I don't care where you live right now. This year, you've heard about inflation and economy and the immigration. So everything here, the financial system, the political system, all the systems are reaching their absolute limits. Let's hope that, inshallah, things get better in the future. It is what it is. I'm talking about what is happening right now. What did we see? Massive layoffs. We heard about the layoffs in the tech industry. People were being told to learn how to code and that they'll be safe and they'll make 6 figures a year and they'll have a career that promises them growth or whatever the case may be for the last 5, 10, 15 years. And look at what happened now with AI. People are not coding anymore, they're vibe coding. So imagine if you're a programmer, front-end developer, back-end developer. So some people are adapting themselves, but nonetheless, those layoffs were huge. It was thousands. One company, the next company, it didn't stop. So when I tell you people lost their identity, like, what do I do with my life now? Do I go back to school? You know what I mean? That's what people were thinking. AI disruption, as I told you before, AI is coming for your job, okay? Faster than you think. That's what we've been hearing, okay? No job is safe. They say plumbers are safe. I don't think so. These robots are getting pretty good. So that's something to keep in mind, guys. Safe careers disappear. Lawyers, doctors, right? Now everything's being disrupted by AI. Those were safe careers. Accountants. I remember at some point I considered being an accountant. Can you imagine? All these things are being disrupted. It's incredible. It is shorter to name the things that are not disrupted than the things that are being disrupted. Now, their futures, those people, have been rewritten. When those people got laid off, nobody talks about the unemployment numbers. We don't know what is happening with them. We literally don't know. When you see, like, those are numbers on the screen. 3,000 laid off, 4,000, and then other waves of layoffs coming later on. What is happening with those people? Where do they go? They go on the street? I don't know. May God help them. But that's why I'm telling you, people, it's not just about losing your job. It's about losing your identity. You've been a programmer for 10 years. What are you going to do now? You've been an accountant for 10 years. What are you going to do now? Something to think about. Now, we go to Uranus. Uranus does not create pressure. It releases it. Okay? So, Uranus is like whatever needed to pop is going to pop. It's going down. Sudden disruption, rebellion, youth movements, okay? Rejection of authority. Does that ring a bell, guys? What has been going on this year? Right? After years of buildup. In my country, Morocco, protests. Moroccans are known as some the most peaceful people you can imagine. We have a monarchy, for Christ's sake. People are content, but no more. No more. This is one of the countries, but it started in other countries, and those things were just protests that escalated to a level so quick and so bad. Usually you see levels I think it was an Asian thing that they had the protests, if I'm not mistaken, and boom, after that the army and this and that, and it keeps escalating so quickly. So, but those people, did they just woke up one day and they said, no, I'm not happy with this anymore, I'm going to protest? No. It's been building up, piling up. You see, it's been building up and accumulating for years. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, until 9. It had to manifest. It had to come out. No more. Okay? No more. People want education. They want a future. They want a future. And they're telling you, AI is going to do everything. Imagine you're 20-something years old. You don't know what career path you're going to go. You don't know what you're going to do with your life. They're telling you AI is going to take all the jobs. So that's why people were protesting, and with reason, okay? With reason. I'm a peaceful kind of guy. I'm an easygoing kind of guy, but at some point, you got to let the powers that be know what's what. Rejection of institutions. We know these files that everyone keeps talking about. We've known about this saga with this guy for years on end, but this year is like the only thing that anyone could talk about. Orange Man was like, I'm going to release the file. Shot himself in the foot there. Because he'd say everything to get into office. But then after that, everyone was just like this, these files, like every single day. You turn on TV, go on social media. It was like, the files, the files, the files. But what those files do is that they make people lose trust. Because now, even when they're released, they're heavily redacted. It's not even worth looking at it, to be honest. But it's this thing that keeps dragging on and on, like I told you. It's been there for years. I think maybe 3 or 4 years now. But this year has been like the highlight. We have Congress and this and that, and everyone have their opinion, and everyone's looking at the files. Like, people are now reporters. John and Jane are going through the files. And like, you guys have time. This was exposure, basically. So this is what the Khatm does. Okay, this scandal that has been lingering on for years. This discontent, especially after COVID. Inflation went up. AI got introduced. It's all fun and games until massive layoffs. So these things have been, again, accumulating, okay? Accumulating. Very important. Now, one thing that is important here, very underestimated, nobody's talking about it, or barely, unless you are watching those specific news. And I'm not a news guy, by the way. All this stuff that I'm talking to you about, like, it means it happened in order for it to get to me, because news are so negative. I'm a positive guy, so I stay like in my bubble. Things seep through that bubble. This guy right here, the sun, the jovial sun, you know, the sun. Sun went haywire this year. It was the peak of its cycle. Peak solar activity since 2024, moving to 2025. And people tell you we have a moon body, which is the subtle body, the solar body, which is ruled by the sun. And yes, so that's why the exhaustion, okay? That's why the exhaustion. That's why you were tired. The sun wasn't acting its usual self, okay? It was going bananas. And what did that translate to? Okay? I'm not saying it caused your problems, but the sun, it has to do with the nervous system. So it creates heightened sensitivity and strain on your systems. Technology glitches more. Infrastructure strains. Sleep quality drops. That's why I told you about the sleep earlier, that it's not the usual 8 or 9 hours that are going to fix it. Okay, it's like having this debt. So when the world is falling apart around you and you don't have the restful, recuperative sleep or energy to deal with it, that's a double whammy here. It's internal and external. Irritability. Have you noticed that? You were a little bit more irritable than usual. People around you, they had a little bit of a shorter fuse than usual. Now you know why. Okay? The spirits came up to me, I think it was around May. May this year, they're like, Reda, you can't talk to anyone. I'm like, what? I can't talk to anyone. And we would really suggest that you refrain from going out as much as possible. Like, what? I didn't even know. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I didn't even know. I'm not the guy who's looking at the stars and NASA news. You know me. If you know me, I'm very focused on what I do in my life. Pretty busy as it is. So they're like, yeah, for 2-3 weeks. I'm like, okay. So if you try to reach me around that period of time, you know what I was doing, right? Between May and June, July, I went on a retreat because they're like, don't talk to anyone, don't interact with anyone, stay away from going out. That was the kind of like the peak, but it's still ongoing. It's still ongoing. It's not done yet. Out of the blue, computer we had in the house, a computer that is 1 year old, motherboard fried, completely fried. Okay, so after that, I heard the news, when it starts to hit your pocket, I heard the news that it was the solar flares. And I was telling about myself, Airbus, have you heard the component that was fried by the solar flares again? And when you have aviation computer technology, that's like the best of the best because airplanes have to be safe. So now you gotta pay attention to the sun. Okay, these solar flares, they happen from time to time, but this year was full-on cycle of heightened activity. And yeah, so that's why things were so on a general level when dealing with people, loved ones, friends, strangers, colleagues, whatever the case may be. Everyone was a little bit on edge. And if you notice, these last Mercury retrogrades, these past 2 years, they were more intense than usual. That is explained also by the Sun, but also by Saturn in Pisces for these past 2 years. Now, this year, it wasn't hard because of one thing. It's all these things. And they combine under this frame, which is the 9. That's it. Okay? Everything that happened, it was going to happen. It was accumulating. It was pressure that needed to be released. Okay? Emotional exhaustion, mental overload, system collapse. Like, I don't care what country I work with people in Asia, in Africa, in Europe, in America. I don't care where you're from. If I tell you right now, do you trust your government? Bet you any money you're going to say no. I bet you any money you're going to say no. Even if it's the ones you voted for who are in power. Why? Now you know why. Okay? Social unrest, physical strain, all these forces converge under this year. Pretty special year. It's going to be complete overload. Too much. It's too much. It's too much. May Allah help us. That's all I can say. So, Khatm is not the end of life. I'm not telling you the world is going to end here. Okay? It's the end of a cycle. It's the end of a chapter. Or it's the end of a book. Okay? Because after closing, book done, what do? If you're an avid book reader, you open a new one. Okay? So we Arabic, I would say esotericism, people, they would always talk about qahr and rahmah, which means subjugation. Qahr is when Allah is testing you, He's giving you all these trials and tribulations, nothing's going good in your life. That's when you have to have sabr, you have to have patience, you have to push through azm and willpower and keep going through. But after that, there's rahmah, which is mercy, grace. May Allah have mercy on us and give us a little bit of His grace, because He knows more than anyone that we direly need it. So this renewal, okay, doesn't mean going back. This means we're moving forward. Okay? So when you become 18 years old, you'll never be 17 again. We're moving forward individually, but also collectively. Okay? Think about what went wrong, what you could have done to prevent it, and those are your learning opportunities. I had many things to learn. Whether for you is it boundaries, whether it's less illusion, where you live in the world and you refuse to see what's coming or what's happening, or the world is changing right underneath your feet. So this is something to think about. If 2025 humbled you like it humbled me, and it humbled everyone that I know in my professional and my personal life, it's not because you failed. You're just a human being. A lot of this stuff, before I researched it, I've been working on this for 1 month, making sure that I understand all the pieces, how they play together. I don't just pull up my phone and go on live and start yapping here. The question that was raised by my loved one was, why is everyone around me getting divorced? I've never seen so many divorces in a single year. And this person has nothing to do with magic or spiritual work or whatever. If this person that we could call a lay person, they notice that I have to investigate. I'm sure there is an ulterior, hidden, occult, subtle influence behind this. And when I found out, I had to share it with you. And a lot of people that are near and dear to my heart, clients who are friends in many ways, they were going through trials and tribulations, and I had to find an answer. So what's good for them is good for you. So now, as we move into 2026, okay, you have to make sure to take inventory. You have 6 days left of the things that you have done wrong, which you could have done better. And don't think about it just in this year. Think about it in a cycle. Things you did wrong maybe 9 years ago, and they culminated into now. Very important. Okay? Now, this was my gift to you, the gift of clarity, and I wanted to leave you with that. If it resonated with you, take it with you. If you know someone who needs to hear this, a close one, a loved one, a friend, a stranger, whatever, who needs to have some kind of clarity about what happened in their life, share it with them. Spread the love, spread the blessing, that what goes around comes around. And on my end, okay, I'm going to do something that I haven't done for the entirety of 2025, because I know some of you will want structured support. So rather than navigating this transition alone, right, if some of us will need to reinvent ourselves, realign ourselves, pivot, adapt, okay, I'm going to be, for a limited time, making a small number of select workings available, okay, at adjusted rates. For those who feel called, if you watch my lives, a lot of people have been asking for this for a long time. It's not for everyone, okay? If you've been waiting for the right time, this is it, okay? Because I'm doing this really just to give out in the world based on everything that I've seen. So usually I do take questions. I won't be taking any questions tonight. I really just wanted to share this with you. If you want to screenshot it, if you want to save it, yeah, it's really for you, to help you process this. I know that I dumped a lot of information on you. Now, sit with it, let it land, and inshallah, on another live, I'll be taking questions, but not today. Allah is be upon you all. Take good care of yourselves. And may Allah bless you all, and a happy new year ahead of time. Thank you for being with me today.